Doesn't matter. There are only 4 rules you need to remember. Make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go off the rails, throw away the plan.
This is some of the most down-to-earth advice I've ever seen in a TV show. Okay, so the other day, me and Uku were talking about our favorite underrated superheroes, and at some point, she mentions Triplicate Girl, and side note, apparently she's a really big Triplicate Girls fan. I mean, just look at how excited she gets at the mere mention of Triplicate Girl. Look! Well, anyways, point is, I was all like, who's Triplicate Girl? And then she was all like, you don't know who Triplicate Girl is? And then I was all like, I don't know who Triplicate Girl is. And she was all like, you don't know who Triplicate Girl is? And I was like, I don't know who Triplicate Girl is. And after about 5 minutes of that, we eventually went on Google so that she could show me who Triplicate Girl was. And then we managed to make our way down an internet rabbit hole, and somehow we ended up on the history of Staples. Surprisingly interesting topic. But the point is, somewhere between Triplicate Girl and Staples, we stumbled upon this video of Captain Cold. And low-key, like I said in the intro, it's some of the most down-to-earth advice I've ever seen come out of a superhero TV show. Now, some of you might react kind of like, oh, well, there's this other TV show which has this much grander, overarching moral, or this other movie, and it has this really inspiring piece of advice that the whole movie builds up to, and it's amazing. Those are great, but here's the thing. Don't get me wrong, they're amazing and I love them. But they kind of exist in the overarching, or kind of, not really, but kind of in the metaphysical, if that makes any sense. Here's what I mean. Most of the advice that you get out of these movies or TV shows follow the same line or thought process as, you have to overcome adversity because you're never going to know what you lose if you don't. Or you have to stand up for what's right regardless as to who opposes you, because ultimately that's the right thing to do and somebody has to do it. And don't get me wrong, these are all really, really good pieces of advice that we should take under consideration. A lot of them, I think, I've probably already mentioned in previous videos, and there's a good chance that they're probably going to come up in future videos. I just like that kind of advice. But ultimately, they don't really exist for the specific tasks of the day-to-day life. They more exist as a reminder to keep in our heads as we go through our day-to-day life so that we can be pushed to be a better person. And that's great. Again, I'm not dissing those pieces of advice, but they don't really apply to our direct actions, at least not specifically. But this piece of advice is just, if you really think about it, it kind of almost exactly explains what happens to just about everybody in our day-to-day lives. Think about it. How many times have you made a plan? Maybe you were planning a wedding, a birthday, surprise, whatever. Name one time everything has gone off without a hitch, or almost without a hitch. Right? I mean, you don't even have to think that specifically. Just think about how almost every day you more or less have your day planned out. And it's almost guaranteed something is going to change your day. Maybe it doesn't completely ruin your day. I'd like to think that most of our days aren't completely ruined by minor things that change it, but ultimately, something changes your plan. And that's exactly what he's talking about. Think about it. Make a plan, stick to the plan. That's what we do. We make a plan for our birthday. We make a plan for the day. Maybe we're going to school, work, whatever, and that's how we follow, and something inevitably changes it. So we make a plan, we stick to the plan, and you know something's always going to go wrong. No matter how simple or complicated the plan, no matter how pre-planned, how prepared you are for the plan, something will almost always go wrong. So ultimately, it's almost best that even just for your day-to-day life, where you're just thinking about how your day is going to go, make the plan, stick to the plan, expect the plan to go awry, like I said, and just throw away the plan. Because ultimately, that's kind of what we have to do. Now, no, that does not mean he's saying that we should just enter chaos the moment something goes wrong. But what it is saying is that we really have to be ready to adapt to just about any moment. And when I say that, most people kind of start thinking of the extremes. For instance, back to the wedding thing. Maybe cake's not coming, maybe flowers aren't coming, and you need to think on your feet to figure out where you're going to get a cake or desserts or flour or whatever. And that's definitely a good example. But realize that it also exists in the simpler things. Think about it, okay? Just a regular day. There's nothing particularly special about this day. There's nothing that seems particularly exciting about this day. Just one of your standard days, right? You're thinking, I'm going to go to school or work, and then after that, maybe I'll get a haircut, and then I'll come back, and then I'll do my homework. Something is probably not going to go as planned. I don't want to say that something's going to go wrong, because that has a negative connotation to it, but something is probably not going to go as planned. Maybe you go to school or work and you get held up for like an hour, and then you realize, oh, I just got to reschedule my haircut. Or you go to do your homework and you're having problems doing it. Oh, I need to contact my teacher or my professor or my friends for advice. Simple things like that, we almost need to expect these things to not work out the way we're planning it. Because ultimately, that's just kind of how our day-to-day works. Even those tiny, tiny things. And the reason it's so important to keep this mentality as you go through your day-to-day, as well as those big challenges, is because even these small things can cause a lot of stress, especially when they start to accumulate. It just can sometimes get a little overwhelming, and even when they don't accumulate, it can be annoying enough to the point where it does cause us some significant stress. But if we follow this idea, make the plan, stick to the plan, expect the plan to go awry, if we expect it to go awry, then we're mentally prepared for something to happen, right? We're not sure what, we're not sure how we're going to deal with it yet, because we don't know what it is yet, but we're mentally prepared for something to go not as planned. And at that point, once we are mentally prepared for something to go not as planned, we can just throw away the plan. And then again, not chaos, but then either we make a new plan or we adapt and modify the previous one so that we can continue on. It becomes much easier when we're already pre-expecting these kind of things. And you might say, well, not every time does something go wrong. On occasion, stuff goes right. Everything goes as planned. And to that I say, you're right. And the good thing about this thought process is that if everything goes right, you're solid. Because think about it. You create the plan, and then you stick to the plan, right? If you're sticking to the plan and nothing goes wrong, then you've stuck to the plan. Everything went as you expected, and you got exactly what you wanted out of it. And if something goes wrong, you're ready for it. You expected it to go awry, and you're ready to throw it away and come up with something else. That's why I find it so cool that this specific piece of advice, pun intended, is so down to earth. It fills, or rather doesn't fill, it applies to almost every day of our lives, whether it be in the small things or the really large challenges. So the next time you go out for your day, perhaps you should just think to yourself, okay, I'm going to make the plan, made the plan, I'm sticking to the plan, I'm expecting it to go awry, and there's a dumpster for when I need to throw it away. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal of it than it needs to. I really like this piece of advice, and I hope I might have helped you like it too. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell button. Please, I'm very, very, very desperate. Literally like 3 people watch me a week if I'm lucky. Okay? So please hit that subscribe and that bell button. I post every other week. If you have any other comments, ideas, suggestions, or just want to tell me how cool I am, pun again intended, please leave it in the comment section below. Otherwise, hear nothing and listen to all. Bye guys.